Tesla had an earnings call, and Elon runs those earnings call. And to my surprise, and it's been kind of mentioned here and there, but not standing out, to my surprise, Elon had mentioned that this may be his last earnings. But I want him to tell us.
All right.
Cue the audio.
Okay.
From Emmett, can Elon do an interview with one of our YouTube channels once or twice a year? I would nominate David Lee on Investing or Rod Maurer's Tesla Daily channels as first possible candidates.
The awkward silence is hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'll do an interview. I mean, just bear in mind, like, if I'm doing interviews, then I can't do actual other work, you know. So it's not, you know, only so much time in the day. So, but yeah, I'll do it once. No, I won't do it annually, but I'll do it once. I think also, like, this is the
Today, Junior.
I wouldn't say the last time I'll do earnings calls, but this is I will no longer be default to doing earnings calls. So obviously I'll do the annual shareholder meeting, but I think going forward I will most likely not be on earnings calls unless there's something really important that I need to say.
Okay. So we kind of got it.
Okay.
What were your thoughts on that, Fat Man Zoom?
Well, let me say this. So it was a little bit tough to hear him, but first off, if you're David Lee and Rob Maurer,
Yeah.
you got like to be just hype.
I know.
You know? That's really cool that they got a shout out. Maybe one day it'll be like
Own the Chaos.
will you interview on Own the Chaos?
I remember Dave Lee had less subscribers than me. Like, I started following him.
He's really good.
He is really good, but it was just cool to see him blow up like that.
So he's no longer participating in earnings calls unless there's major news. And he said, I'm not the default person, so I'm no longer going to be leading the charge. He will be, because it's an obligation of the CEO, participating in the annual shareholder meeting. But he just kind of alluded to the fact, the keys in there were that he's, you know, if he does these interviews, it's taking away his time to run the business. And there's a quote he said in here. It says, it's all worth noting that all the American car companies, out of all the American car companies, there are only two that have not gone bankrupt. That is Ford and that is Tesla.
Yes.
He says, so the seeds of defeat are sown on the day of victory, and we must be careful that we cannot do that. GM is the fourth largest bankruptcy in U.S. history of any company in 2009. So all of you that are excited about GM, not GM, just keep that in mind when you think about GM as the company that's going to beat Tesla.
Yeah, right.
But my question to you is, before I give my thoughts on it, would you be concerned? Does this make you bullish or bearish? Because this is kind of a big deal. He is no longer going to be on earnings. And why would he do this?
I think I don't like it personally.
Okay.
I think that you're the face of the company. You're the leader of the company. You're the CEO. CEOs come in on, earnings calls and they give their perspective. Nobody wants to talk to anybody else other than Elon anyway. So when they want to conduct interviews, especially mainstream media, when they're giving input on calls, they want to hear from the man. And I don't know if that's really a good call. And I still don't agree with. I mean, they don't have a PR.
Team,
right?
Department.
Yeah, they don't have a PR team, and I still think that that's a mistake as well. Just because there's so many questions that come from them. Is it going to hurt them in the long run? Maybe, maybe not. But I still think that they need at least somebody to be able to communicate with investors and to communicate with anybody who's even thinking about buying a Tesla. I just don't know if I like this.
In normal cases, I would agree with you, but I think this is the smartest thing they could have done. And now is the time to do it. Now they're about to ramp up to another level. And it's been too much of Tesla is Elon.
Yeah.
Right? It's not about Tesla. People are buying into Elon and they need to move away from that. They need to not rely on Elon. So I think the reason why this is good in a couple cases is this is showing his trust in the leadership outside of himself.
Yeah.
And I also think that if you're on the board, the thing about Elon is honest to a fault. And you need somebody who's a little bit more political. I'm not saying that's a lie, but that can give sort of like the political answer and not get them stuck. He just tells the truth.
Just be diplomatic.
And so I think this helps him because I think because he's the founder, he does something that not many CEOs do, and he gives ambitious sort of goals. And that's great as a CEO because you move the ball forward. But why this hurts the company is because normally CEOs temper expectations. He ends up over-promising, and that's going to help them because he'll still be on Twitter, and that'll still move the stock.
Yeah.
But they'll be able to have somebody who, one, they'll groom whenever it's ready for Elon to move away. It won't be such a shock to the stock where they have somebody else who's sort of the face as well. And they'll have Elon and then somebody else they can build that, much like Tim Cook.
I was just about to say
right?
that. Yeah.
And so they were very intentional, and Steve Jobs and Tim Cook, and like having Tim Cook take the lead. I think they're going to be doing that. And he said he'll be coming on earnings every once in a while. So when he comes on earnings, I think there's going to be massive moves. So I think it actually is a good thing for them.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't have to. I think this sets them up for more earnings beats because the challenge with Tesla is they can't beat earnings because everybody expects these big news. And I just don't think, I think he just kind of overpromises and it hurts them. So I think it's smart. But I don't think you have to worry about him leaving. I think that this is him saying, I'm doubling down on Tesla. I'm focusing on us getting to that. I think like we're in the red zone. We need these last 20 yards.
Right.
And I need to focus on getting us across that goal line. I love it. I actually think it's really smart, no matter how the market responds to this.
Well, there you have it, guys. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. If you're watching this later, make sure you hit the like button as well. And if you guys are interested in being a bigger part of Own the Chaos, make sure you hit the join button next to subscribe. Become part of the Chaos. Get our daily watch list, access to our Discord groups, access to my portfolio, as well as trade alerts. All that good stuff you get by hitting join next to subscribe and becoming a channel member. Become part of the crew and help support the channel. We certainly would appreciate it.